Now for today's demonstration, I'm going to show the removal and the installation of a IDL cord for a GDM model specific cooler. What this one here is, and specifically, is a 21.5-inch IDL cord. It is referenced under part number 515809. It also comes in a 42-inch length. It is 107988. And these are not model specific. They can come on any specific GDM cooler, whether it's a 26, 49, 72. It just depends on the wiring of the pre-existing cooler. So again, this is the 21.5-inch IDL cord, and I'm going to show you the installation. So first thing we want to do is we want to remove the bottom trim on your door. Now this one already has the trim removed on it, but should it have the existing trim on, you're going to use a long neck number 2 Phillips nib. It helps you get down into the grooves of the trim much better than a smaller nib, so I would recommend that. Now once you have your trim removed, which in this instance already is, you want to take off your IDL strain relief. Now when you remove this, you just simply want to put a little pressure on it and pop it out. Now in doing that, sometimes on these older doors, this piece of plastic here will be broke and you'd have to replace that. So if you have to replace it with a new strain relief, now that part number is 958584, you can order those as well. So once you have that removed, you want to pull the bottom of the door till you get your wires out. Now once you have your wires out the bottom, you want to take your dikes and you want to cut that right at the base of your wires. You're going to cut all 4 of those. Now once you've done that, you've removed the old IDL cord. And the reason we removed this IDL cord, as you can tell, is because of the damage that's been done to the outside sheath. Once these wires are exposed, it can be a shock hazard should the actual wire itself be damaged. So that's, in this instance, why we're replacing this. Other reasons, it can be crimped, the end of the cord could be smashed, the old connections could be broke, but in this specific reason, it's because of the damage done to the IDL cord. So once we have all that removed, you take our needle nose, you want to pull your wires back up through the bottom of the door. And reason for this is it makes it easier to be able to get to the wires to strip the ends of them when you're reapplying your new IDL cord. Now down inside the door here, you'll see a lot of residual foam in there. When you try to feed your IDL cord up to the bottom, a lot of times that foam will prevent you from being able to get in there. So you can just break just a little bit of that loose if you need to, and just pull that out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to feed our new IDL cord up through the bottom. Once you have your wires through, you can grab them with your needle nose and gently pull those back up through the surface here, back to the bottom of the door. There we go. Now that you have those pulled up, you have the bottom of your IDL cord and you have the wires coming off of your light assembly. Now if you'll notice, on the IDL cord you will have 2 whites, 2 blacks, and on this specific GDM door it's wired the same, 2 whites, 2 blacks. So it doesn't matter which these go into, just as long as your color pattern is aligned correctly. Now had this been an LED door, you'll notice on the LED lights you only have 2 wires that come out the bottom. You'll have a black and you'll have a red. Now on this, obviously you're not going to be able to use all 4. So if you notice, on each one of the blacks and each one of the whites, there's a yellow strip that runs down through that. On an LED specific model, you're going to omit those 2 and just use the straight black and the straight white. Your red will go to your white, your black will go to your black. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to restrip the ends of my cord, like so. Now when you're stripping this, you don't want to take too much off the end, just enough to get into the end of the connector. If you take too much of it off, then you have existing wire that'll be hanging out of your connector, and again, that can also be a fire or even a shock hazard. So you just want to strip enough to get it down inside of the connector itself. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to crimp our wires. It doesn't matter which ones you start with, whether they're white or black or alternate, just as long as you keep the color pattern correct. So you're going to press that all the way firmly into the connector until you feel it stop. Give it a nice crimp. Now when crimping these, if you over crimp too tight, you'll cut all the way through this plastic and you can sever your wire. So you just want to crimp enough that you can feel the metal inside here give, and test it, give it a little tug to test it, make sure that it's nice and secure. Do the same thing with the other way. Moving on to the blacks. And the last one. Alright, so as you can see here, we now have all 4 of our wires securely connected. Give them a little tug there just to make sure they don't pull back out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull that back down through your door, making sure all your wires and connectors are down inside your door frame. Now when you put your bottom trim back on, your bottom trim will press the rest of your wires down, so all this will be hidden underneath of your trim and pressed down. To put your strain relief back on, you just want to take your strain relief, secure it around the IDL cord like such. Give her a nice crimp. And as you're squeezing, you just want to press that back up into the bottom of the door.